Thank you, Andy. Thank you so much. Now we have an amazing panel. The moderator of the panel is Samuel Burri. Samuel Burri is the Vice President of Engineering at the DFINITY Foundation. Please, Samuel, let's give a warm welcome to Samuel, please.
Thank you. Well, let me ask our guest. It's Alex. There you are. We have seen you on stage already. Alex from Bitfinity. Then we have Bodily. We have also seen you on stage. Do you want me to? I'll be here. Thank you. And then we have Louis. Louis is from Omnity network. And we're missing John Crowley from ICLighthouse and ICRouter. Thank you all for joining me. So we are going to talk about chain fusion, what it allowed your projects to build, what we can learn from this, how to integrate or talk, reach out to the Bitcoin community, as we're actually in a big Bitcoin event here. But let's maybe start with a brief introduction. Bob, can you also tell us what your project is about? What's your role there? Give me a 1-minute pitch, please.
Yeah, sure. I'm Bob Bodily, CEO of Bioniq. Bioniq is an ordinals marketplace that we've been building, leveraging chain fusion tech. So you bridge your ordinals over to ICP, you can bridge your Bitcoin over, and then you can transact at the speed and cost of ICP rather than the speed and cost of Bitcoin. So everything is very... Am I cutting out like this? Okay. Thank you for the microphone tip. So you can trade at the speed and cost of ICP, so fast transactions, no gas fees or network fees, and you can do more with your ordinals and your tokens.
Cool. And you were big help in organizing this event, so again, thank you. Let's go over to you, Alex. You have given a brief introduction, or you have had a speech, but maybe for those who missed it, briefly, what is Bitfinity about?
Yeah, sure. So I'm Alex. Hi, everyone, from Bitfinity Network. And we essentially are a sidechain for Bitcoin. We're built on the IC and in the form of an EVM. So we expose a Solidity environment for developers to use Bitcoin and taproot assets in a fully decentralized way.
Cool. Then Louis. Okay, I continue. Louis.
Hi, I'm Louis from Omnity. Omnity is an omnichain interoperability stack built on IC. And for now, we are majorly focused on Bitcoin asset, especially the Meta protocol token. So we connect Bitcoin layer 1 with layer 2 through chain fusion tech stack and bring Bitcoin token everywhere.
Thank you. You will have a keynote a bit later on, and we will learn more about your project.
Panel,
Looking forward to that. Then, John, can you tell us what ICLighthouse is about? And there is no ICLighthouse panel today, so take a bit more time to explain us what ICLighthouse is.
So ICLighthouse.
Yeah.
We all good? All right. So ICLighthouse was a company founded with the goal of creating a solid Web3 DeFi foundation on the internet computer. And to that end, since our inception, we've released several products. But at the core of our releases is ICRouter and a decentralized exchange known as ICDEX. Now, ICRouter is a non-intermediary cross-chaining tool, and it allows users to move funds to and from networks like Bitcoin and Ethereum over to the IC. And it leverages chain key technologies to achieve this without any centralized entities involved in the process.
Let's do that. Thank you, Bob. I want to recommend other teams to maybe have a look at IC Router, because I think the asynchronous compute model on ICP is at times challenging. It leads to, or it helps to scale. At the same time, it is also somewhat challenging, and I think your IC Router might be a helpful building block for many other projects too. All right, so then let's continue and dive a bit deeper technically. We are having chain fusion panels, so of course I'm curious, what are the chain fusion building blocks your projects are using? What do you recommend maybe some devs in the audience to look at if you want to first understand what this chain fusion is all about? What can we learn from your experience? Bob.
So at Bioniq, we take ordinals and we bridge them over to ICP to Bioniq. We also leverage CKBTC, which is the native Bitcoin token on ICP. And specifically, the Bitcoin protocol primitives that we leverage are the threshold signing subnet. So there's a subnet of 28 nodes, and each node has a private key share, and it's a threshold setup, so you need 10 of those 28 in order to actually sign a signature. And you can sign ECDSA right now with additional signature types coming soon. But using that tech, we can take an ordinal and we can store it in a Bitcoin address that has been generated from that private key. And so it's a really nice threshold signature setup. You get private key resharing the last I heard it was 10 hours. And it's a really good way to bridge Bitcoin assets over to the Internet Computer Protocol to do additional, to do more with your ordinals. So that's, if I had to pick my favorite protocol primitive, it would be the threshold signing subnet.
Cool. And you alluded to it, the Schnorr signature scheme is about to go live, so that will be an interesting addition. And EDDSA, which for example is used for Solana, is the next one coming up. So that will of course create new opportunities to connect with yet other chains. I
just want to say, very excited about EDDSA and Schnorr signatures. Adding those threshold signature schemes has been on my to-do list, like my wish list. Not that I'm going to build it. Wish list for the last 12, 13, 14 months. So
I know. That's why we worked on it.
You're very excited about it.
Thank you, Bob. All right, Alex, tell us what are the chain fusion building blocks you're using?
Well, I think it's mostly what Bob mentioned. So thanks, Bob, for explaining it in such an eloquent way. And we have a very similar wish list to you, Bob. So yeah, these are the core primitives of the Bitfusion SDK, which is actually just built on top of ChainKey, of what, under the hood. It's essentially what Bob has described. And the way that we access this from the VM is that we just have essentially some agents that allow us to kind of like interact with the canisters and do some back and forth. Yeah.
Great. Luis, is it the same for you, or do you have some other building blocks that you use?
Omnity heavily rely on ChainKey, ECDSA, Bitcoin native integration, and also EVM RPC canister. So I cannot remember any ChainKey tech stack we haven't used. And also we build on ChainKey Schnorr and doing the integration with Solana and Cosmos at the same time. So once it's ready, this Omnity's connection will be extended to this type of blockchain.
Cool. Looking forward to it. So then, John, what is it? I think you are similar building blocks, but probably outcalls would be another one. What else is, or what is your stack, or that do you use?
Well, to preface, Hello? Okay. To preface, I just want to say first that, if you see me checking my phone, it's because I'm not a developer on the team, so I'm referencing notes from our development team that couldn't make it this week. So, To answer the question though, at the core of IC Router really is chain fusion technologies. So things like threshold signatures and HTTP outcalls are really what make it possible, and it wouldn't exist without stuff like that. So.
Cool. Then let's go. We started already talking about the wish list. So obviously some of the wishes come true, but I'm sure you have more. Maybe let's start the other way this time. What are topics and functionalities, or maybe also from a community aspects that you're missing and that you hope could be created or changed?
Sure. So this was something relatively minor, really, that our dev team wanted to highlight. But something they wanted to see improvements around were just related to efficiency in releasing new multi-chain assets. So in the current structure, you don't really have an ability to check like canister information for new chain key assets until the foundation's proposal has gone through to approve it, which makes sense. But it causes some latency in integrating it into exchanges that might use a DAO, like ICDEX. So in the current state, we have to wait for the foundation's proposal to be approved, and then we have to craft our own proposal to list it on the exchange. And by the time we end up listing it, we've already fallen several days behind more centralized exchanges. So it's just a minor thing that our team would like to see.
Yeah, and I guess we see what the price is of doing it with a DAO-controlled dapp, where we have similar experience with ICP in general, where, of course, decisions take more time, and on the other hand, you have a better decentralized solution, but I know the problem, but I think you have an interesting use case that you described that we should look into. Louis, can I go on to you? What is on your wish list?
So I think chain fusion is about to drive the complexity of multi-chain and provide a simplified, streamlined user experience. I think ICP stand at the push the boundary of this chain fusion. In other ecosystem, it may be called chain abstraction. But I think the tech stack is quite good in this direction. But I think, but the problem is there is still gap between Web 2 and Web 3. And maybe we should focus on more about fuse the Web 2 and Web 3, like Solana bring this blockchain links to the world, and they involve a lot of innovation, a lot of talk about things. From directly on Twitter, people can interact with Solana blockchain. It's a huge step. I hope ICP have his own link, and so to make interaction from the mainstream web user with ICP more easily, and also ICP can integrate with all kinds of different blockchain. So chain fusion will still work, but the whole experience will be streamlined. And also, we know since we do a lot of things about integrate Web 2 and ICP, we do a program Telegram bot to distribute token directly in Telegram window. And for now, the communication between the major headache is about how to safely store the access key. I hope there is a way to solve this problem. Maybe once the white key is ready, we can build it on ourselves. But it's better to have let's say, a unified implementation for canisters to store this sensitive data. So yeah, it's. So my major point is think about integration between Web 2 and blockchain.
Thank you. And maybe you mentioned wet keys. For those who are not familiar with that term, it's a primitive to encrypt basically data on the blockchain, and that's something that has been talked about for a while, and eventually hopefully it also happens, but it's not there yet. Alex, may I go on? What is on your wish list?
Yeah, so I mean, I think there are a few things. The first one is really just not for DFINITY, but for the community in general. If somebody could implement an Ordinals indexer in a canister, that would be quite useful. Because currently, like, if we have an implementation of that, we would have to rely on an external centralized indexer for Ordinals, and I think that's just not completing the full decentralization picture. So that would be a good thing. Maybe a second thing would be if we just streamline and enhance the user experience for internet identity, just like connecting, again, crossing the chasm between Web 3 and Web 2 and connecting them in the right way. I think that will make a big difference if we can sort of streamline internet identity, because it's a very powerful concept. And we've implemented it in our wallet, but we see that people still prefer to use a seed phrase. So I guess some of that is just a behavioral tendency. But if we can get rid of these very frustrating bridging components and seed phrases and just like give a Web 2 type of experience on Web 3, that would make a significant difference. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, the internet identity, or I guess maybe even more general, WebAuthn and the use of passkeys is obviously being found in many new web solutions, and indeed now we realize internet identity has to take a step up here. I totally agree. Bob, what's on your wish list after Schnorr?
Yeah, definitely EDDSA and Schnorr. Just got to say it again because I really want it, and it's coming, and I'm very happy. Next on the wish list is getting block headers in the Bitcoin Light node, which I know is also coming. Very excited about that. I was chatting with Lewis earlier, and they have a runes indexer running fully in a canister right now, which is really impressive. It pulls in the Bitcoin block data, processes, does all the indexing, and then you can call the canister to get runes data for a particular UTXO. This is essentially what Alex was wanting for ordinals, already built for runes, and we just need block headers so that we can verify that the block data that's pulled externally is the correct block, and then you kind of connect all the dots there. So really close there. My final wish list item is from builders in the community. I think we really need to target applications with large user bases. So think about what you could build for the cross-chain community, for the Ethereum community, for the Solana community, for the Bitcoin community, for external to crypto, build a really good, really easy to use application for some specific user segment that's broader than just the ICP ecosystem itself.
Yeah, that's a very good point too, I agree. Maybe that brings us to the next question, which is more about befriending the Bitcoin community, or maybe not only the Bitcoin community, but here we are at the Bitcoin event. But coming to Nashville and preparing myself, I realized I'm living very much in an ICP bubble, and I think Chain Fusion is a good way to step out of this. But I think here, I for sure have to learn, I guess some other people maybe too. Bob, I think you have been a role model in this regard, how you really became a Bitcoiner, and you're also super good at explaining this world. So what can we learn? How should we do that? I guess maybe DFINITY, but maybe the ICP ecosystem at large. What's the secret recipe?
Yeah, I don't know if there's an easy answer for that one, but if you haven't noticed, all of my content online is Bitcoin focused. We're still leveraging a lot of the great protocol primitives on ICP for the Bitcoin Light node and the threshold signing and the CKBTC. But going out into a community and immersing yourself in a community and providing value to a community is something that I would love to see more from DFINITY engineers. I think having people looking at BitVM, BitVM2, and CatVM, and what it would look like to have OpCat on Bitcoin, and how we could improve bridging architectures, leveraging interesting things in the Bitcoin ecosystem. And that's just one ecosystem. I mean, there's cool things happening on Solana, cool things happening on Ethereum, with proto-dank sharding and L2s. They're kind of, spearheading the modularity thesis for scaling blockchains. And so I would love to see DFINITY and the ICP community be more accepting and more interested and more involved in all of these crypto communities, because there's so much talent and interest within the ICP community, and I think we need to share that with the broader crypto world.
Thank you. Alex, you're targeting Solidity developers, so I guess more from an Ethereum world, but then make it attractive to work with Bitcoin, so you have a challenge to somehow bring together even two communities. What's your plan or recipe to do that?
Yeah, I mean, I think, the most important thing, so as I was saying in the keynote earlier, the developers on Bitcoin are having a hard time because it's actually quite challenging to build on these protocols and launch these tokens, and it's still Bitcoin has been around for more than a decade now, but I feel like from a UX point of view, like things haven't really improved that much. So one of the key things I think is just to create an environment where developers can actually build something with simplicity. They can trust what they build. They know that it's reliable. They can use tools that have already been around for a long time. They can bridge over a very standard development experience that they know well, like for example that of Ethereum. And Ethereum has done a fantastic job of doing that. So that's the first thing. Second thing, what I noticed is that even as I was talking to people around the conference, artists, people that are launching NFTs, ordinal collections, the costs of doing that currently are absolutely prohibitive. I mean, we're talking about thousands of dollars just to launch NFT collections, right? And small ones, not even large ones. So reducing the cost and making it accessible to artists and people that want to actually use these products and launch something, that goes a long way to bring in the developer community onto Bitcoin. Yeah.
Thanks. Luis, you have bridged many communities. What can we learn from you?
So I think the so-called Bitcoin Renaissance really started from ordinals. So if there is this new meta protocol, Bitcoin will still be the store value digital gold, a very solid but very boring asset and blockchain. So and BRC20 brings let's say mania to this ecosystem, and now brings a more simplified, a more cohesive meta protocol, which lay a solid foundation for the ecosystem to grow. So my projection would be Bitcoin token, especially rings, will take off in the coming years. Considering Bitcoin itself, BTC itself, have more than 1 trillion market cap, but for Bitcoin token, it's only about 3 billion, 1 billion for rings, 2 billion for BRC20, and a small part for ordinals and IP. And let's compare with Ethereum ecosystem, where the total value of token comparable, if not exceed the market cap of Ether. So I think Bitcoin token, especially rings, have let's say 1x growth room, and this will bring a lot of new assets, a lot of economic activities to the ecosystem, and I think most of them will happen on Bitcoin Layer 2, because apparently Layer 1 transaction output is quite limited. So along with the prosperity of Bitcoin token is the prosperity of Bitcoin Layer 2.
Thanks. Thank you. John, what?
Well, this is honestly a topic that we've been trying to tackle since CKBTC's gone live, and we've implemented it on ICDEX. But we haven't really come up with a rigid plan as far as trying to get Bitcoiners over to the IC, and in particular things like ICDEX, where we feel like they benefit from the different features that it offers, but there's just a hesitation there that we don't know how to overcome. But I feel like DFINITY's approach to this event this week is really the solution that we've been looking for in showing Bitcoiners that ICP is not here to threaten or replace them. You know, we're trying to level up their network. So.
Super, thank you. Then we're almost at the end of our panel. Let's close with a brief round where we are all flying home to our countries or locations where we live. What should we read or take home from this week in Nashville? What are the topics or trends that you feel will stick around or influence the next few months, or you're very excited about, Bob?
I'm going to invite everybody to be reborn as a Bitcoiner. I think everybody here needs to appreciate Bitcoin as the largest market cap token, Bitcoin having global presence, being the most decentralized, secure network on planet Earth. Asterisk, we could debate it forever. And I think we need to be open and interested in and contribute to lots of different crypto communities. And, being here in Bitcoin Nashville, I mean, it's been electric for a lot of these side events and side panels and the conference and the people that are presenting and the interesting ideas that are happening. The last 18 months on Bitcoin has been crazy with the builder interest and the investor interest, and seeing that all come together has been fantastic. So, we all need to double down as Bitcoiners, I think.
Cool. Alex, what are you excited about?
Yeah, I agree with what Bob said. I think things are changing, and there's been a lot of positive energy at the conference. And I think we're kind of like at a moment in time when I feel like we're at a pivotal, a very important pivotal moment in time, actually, because I expect that in the next 3 to 5 years, Bitcoin is really going to go mainstream amongst retail and also amongst developers, and not just because of the ETF, but also because of the potential, changes from a regulatory standpoint in the US. I feel like people know that, and this incredible asset that has been around for almost 15 years now, and it's always been up there at the charts, but it's untapped liquidity. Nobody has actually done much with it until now. So yeah, super exciting.
Great. Louis?
My crypto journey started 11 years ago, apparently from Bitcoin. And but at the time, the Bitcoin didn't have a room for a builder to work, except you are a core developer. So builder back to Bitcoin, I'm one of them, and very excited to see that a lot of builder, a lot of project, a lot of investor focus on Bitcoin ecosystem, and it's pretty exciting.
Thank you. Then let's close with you, John.
Right. Honestly, it's hard to say with how quickly crypto changes what trends are going to stick around over the next year. But what excites me is definitely all the new things that have been made possible with chain fusion technology. And watching it solve problems that I've seen developers struggle with for years on Ethereum has really got me excited about the future. So I'm really excited to see how it plays out over the next 12 months, and I'm confident we'll all enjoy it.
Thank you very much. That concludes our panel. Thanks for joining me here on stage. And let's give a big round of applause to our guests.